This is Ask Jenson. We gave you guys at home the chance to ask this man absolutely anything on the Sky Sports social media accounts. Jenson, we have thousands of questions. I've tried to sub them down a little bit. There's a mixture of Formula One, there's a mixture of lifestyle in there as well. You ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
You look ready.
Yes.
Let's do this. Okay, first one. Who was your own Formula One hero?
Whew. I mean, I respected a lot of drivers growing up. These are supposed to be quick answers, right?
No, you can take your time. Take your time. Answer how you want.
I respected a lot of drivers growing up, and obviously being British, Nigel. Nigel Mansell was someone that I followed through his career. Loved the way that he was, his personality and what have you. But the driver that I liked his style of driving was probably Alain Prost.
Okay.
His smooth style, the professor they used to call him.
Yeah.
He was very good at setting up a car, thinking his way through a race, not just about being fast. He technically was very, very good. So Alain Prost, and he had to deal with Ayrton Senna, who was extremely quick. He was probably quicker than him in terms of outright pace.
Yeah.
But he could win races by his experience and by thinking mostly through a race.
Do you think you maybe based a bit of your driving style on watching him growing up?
I haven't on purpose, but maybe I have. I don't
Subconsciously.
know. Yes, exactly. So I don't know, but I wouldn't call myself the professor. But I definitely try to be smooth and precise with my driving and understand the importance of engineering and strategy and everything.
Love it. Okay, let's do the next one. Who was your favourite Formula One teammate?
I've had a lot of Formula One teammates, actually, through my career.
Some great ones as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can run through the list if you want to, but no, there were some greats. 3 times I had a world champion as my teammate, being Jacques Villeneuve, Lewis, and obviously Fernando Alonso. But the driver that I had the most fun with was a guy that never won the world championship, but got close, was Rubens Barrichello.
Oh, nice.
We had a lot of fun together. Also, he was very good at setting up a car.
Yeah.
His understanding of a race car was second to none. You know, probably the best out of anyone I've raced with. So I enjoyed working with him, and also we went through a very emotional time through the end of Honda and then the start of Brawn, where we worked together. So that was a special time in my life. So yeah, Rubens.
So is it as much off the track relationship with somebody like Rubens as it is on the track racing, setting up the car? It's as much as your relationship away from it and spending time with each other.
Yeah,
on the
and
road.
Also it was an intense relationship because in the Brawn year we both had a chance to win the world championship, and he had obviously had chances with Ferrari, or maybe not because he wasn't allowed. But so we were both, wanted to win the world championship. We wanted to stay friends as well, and there were moments through that year that we both didn't agree on the same thing. So. It was tricky at times, but we came out of the end of it, and we had a good relationship still. I remember him giving me a big hug after I won the world championship, and it was an emotional time, and yeah, I loved that partnership through the rough times and the good times together.
Perfect. The next question is about another one of your former teammates. It's, did you pee in Fernando Alonso's seat?
I didn't, actually. I've never peed in a racing seat. I've never peed in a seat.
Is this the truth? Definitely.
I've never peed in any seat whatsoever. I've had friends that have after a big night out, but I've never peed in a seat or in a bed. I probably did as a kid, actually. Getting a little bit off topic, but no, I didn't. But I thought it was quite funny radio comms. It's really cool working with someone like Fernando Alonso for a couple of years, because you've both been through a lot, and we started at the same sort of time. He was 2 years after me, I think. Yeah, we had a good relationship. So yeah, it was a good bit of chat on the radio.
Yeah, quite a few drivers deny that they peed in a racing car suit or in a seat. Yeah. Do you know anyone that has? Can you confirm anyone that definitely has? Because there's a few rumours out there.
Yeah, Jacques Villeneuve used to.
Regularly.
Nico does, or did.
Still does.
I say still does, yeah. He doesn't race for 5 years, 6 years. That's mental.
Just in his own car seat.
He used to pee in his seat. He even said this on air, I think, or maybe this was a private conversation.
It could be private, which is great. So let
might have
know.
been a private conversation. But he didn't want to get out of the car. He wanted to focus on, getting his head in the right space to race. So he didn't want to get out and go to the toilet.
Wow.
But I just cannot imagine
must be so uncomfortable.
Sitting in your own pee.
Yeah.
And also, how do you do that? I mean, I used to do triathlons, and on the run sometimes, if you need a pee, you have a pee. But I cannot do it. I just cannot do it, especially in public.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah, imagine getting out of the car at the end. I mean, it's a risk, isn't it?
Well, then you're sweaty already, so it doesn't matter.
But...
I have had a moment, it was actually in Abu Dhabi, I remember it. I was 4 laps into a 12-lap run in practice, and I needed to go to the toilet, but like, big proper toilet.
Oh no!
And I said, in this lap. They went, no, Jenson, you've got another 8 laps. In this lap. And I came in. As soon as the car brought up in front of the garage, I jumped out before they even pushed it back in and ran to the toilet with my crash helmet on still.
Oh wow!
Which was interesting.
Not the easiest to get the suit off in that situation as well.
I did. It's
pressure.
Okay, just.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This is away from Formula One. How many minors did you get in your driving test?
Well, I failed my driving test.
Your first one, didn't you? You failed your first one. So was there no minors or just majors? How did you fail it?
But hang on a second. There was always a rumour that if you did it towards the end of the month, it was a bad thing because if they'd had a certain amount of passes.
I've heard this rumour as well. Then they start to fail you because they've got to get a number in.
Too many passes. And I think that's why. No, the lady that was sat alongside me, the instructor, she's quite tough. And I went for a gap that wasn't there, is what she said.
On a driving test, how do you do that?
There were cars parked on my side of the road, and I was giving way to the car coming the other way, or supposed to. But there was definitely enough room. So I went through, and I had like 1.5 centimeters on that side, and about 1.5 centimeters on this side. But the lady coming the other way, she hit the curb.
Oh no!
She ran up the curb, so I got dinged for her
mistake. Her poor driving.
Her poor driving.
Yeah.
She went up the curb. There was enough room, but it was a bit tight.
So did you pass second time?
Yes.
Any minors on the second?
No, I think it was straight
clean
through.
Run.
Yeah, I think it was clean run.
They do say the best drivers pass second time round, don't they?
They do. Did you then?
No, I didn't. I mean,
I've
failed twice. I'm still learning. I failed twice.
I think if you fail like 2 or 3 times, you should just give up.
Well, don't say
Learn
that.
how to ride a bike.
Because you're knocking my confidence. And
Have you still not passed?
No, because I mean, on one of my tests, I got a dangerous, which was a big error. Like,
so you failed twice and you still haven't passed?
Still haven't passed, no. Just keep kicking it down the road. I just can't come back to it.
You don't need to. If you live here, you don't need a car anyway.
I've got to get one eventually. But the less said about my driving test skills, the better. Let's keep moving on to the next question, which is, what was the worst crash of your career?
I had one in karting, which is pretty bad.
Okay.
It was in Japan. Suzuka F1 circuit has a kart circuit next to it. I was coming down the main straight, must have been doing like 80 miles an hour. And James Courtney was in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever raced in F1, but he did some testing for Jaguar. And his engine blew up. So when a karting engine blows up, it just seizes solid, so the rear tires stop moving. And it just stopped in front of me. And at that time, I was looking behind to see where the rest of the field was.
No.
So I hit him in the back, and I flipped over and scratched my helmet on the ground. But the impact was so hard, you have the fuel tank between your legs and the steering column. This fuel tank flew out, the steering column got bent that way, but the hit in the nether region was so horrific. And I remember coming around, and I was out the car on the road, and 2 other people had hit the car. One broke his arm. And then they were like, Marshall was waving at me to get off the track, and I tried to get off, and I couldn't stand up.
Oh no!
Because, when you get kicked in that area, it hurts, right?
Yeah.
Getting hit by a go-kart in that area was really bad. So I was crawling off the circuit. I couldn't move my legs. It felt like I was paralyzed. I eventually got to the grass, and I could get chunks of turf, and that's how I pulled myself off the track. So that was probably the worst in terms of pain.
I mean, it sounds it.
Yeah. And then in F1 in 2003 in Monaco, I came out the tunnel, lost it, hit the wall, and was knocked out, which is probably the worst accident in terms of impact, but the pain was a lot less.
Yeah, when you do hit a wall doing close to 300 kilometers an hour, for the average Joe that, I haven't even passed my test, what is that impact like on your body?
It's weird. It hurts, obviously, but it's just so strange. It's like your flesh, muscles, and skin is being ripped off of your bones as you hit the wall. It's a really weird sensation, and you're like in the car, and you obviously can't breathe, and then you get knocked out. I was unconscious, and I woke up with loads of people around the car, medics, marshals, and Sid Watkins, who's the late Sid Watkins, who used to be the doctor of F1, and he looked at me, and he was always a smiley face and made you feel a lot more relaxed. And while he was talking to me, they were cutting up my suit and injecting me with all sorts of stuff. I had needles out of me like this. And he said, "Where does it hurt?" I said, "My arm, right arm." And he said, "Are you sure?" And I started laughing. I said, "No, it's my left." He went, "Is it?" I went, "My whole body just aches." And it was the drugs, basically.
Yeah.
So he got me in the ambulance, and all that, and it was all good. And I remember the next time I crashed and got out of the car, he got me in. No, I shouldn't tell the rest of this story.
No, you got it now. You started it.
I really can't.
You can't start it and stop it.
Anyway, so that was it.
On.
Anyway, so he was a lovely guy and was always fantastic with us drivers, and it helped having that friendly face there when you did have a big shunt.
Okay, let's do the next question. Who is the most naturally talented driver you've ever seen on a track?
Max
Verstappen. Okay, why?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's natural, isn't it?
Yeah,
So.
But what makes him more naturally talented than, let's say, Lewis Hamilton?
His parents. I guess that's where natural ability comes from.
Yeah.
So, when you look at Max's parents, for example, my dad used to race in rallycross. It's definitely in the blood in our family. But with Max, his dad raced in F1.
Yeah.
I raced against his dad. My first points finish was in Brazil, my second race. And to get that point, I had to overtake his dad. And Jost was, you didn't want to get him upset.
Yeah.
A little bit of aggression back then. But
like
anyway,
your son has now.
Exactly.
Well.
No, a lot more with Jost. So obviously amazing talent, and his father was one of the best kart drivers ever, and still probably to this day. And his mum, Sophie, I was teammates with in karting.
Oh,
so
really?
she used to be a professional kart driver, and she was one of the best in the world.
It's in the blood.
Yeah, so it's definitely in the blood. So naturally gifted, yes. Is he the best? I don't know if he's the best driver that's ever lived or the best driver in Formula One now. When you look at Lewis, you think he's a much more complete racing driver. He has a lot more experience, so that's probably why.
Do you think Max could go on to become the greatest?
Yeah, I think so. I think every driver needs to be open to change and open to improve themselves. And you've got to work hard. I mean, even if you think you're the best, there's still more you can do to be better. And that was where Michael Schumacher was so strong. He was just working on his skill level all the time and developing great relationships within the team that could help him succeed in future years.
Absolutely. Okay. The next question. What was your first ever non-racing car?
My first ever car that I owned was a Vauxhall Cavalier.
Was it?
Yep.
How was that drive-wise?
It was blue. It's £2,000 it cost me, but I actually bought it.
Oh, wow.
17, £2,000, 2 litre, 8 valve, so it wasn't the 16. It had 90,000 miles on the clock, and it was a G-Reg, and this was in 1997, so it was 7 years old. I remember lowering the suspension, putting SPAC suspension on it.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
What was the customization job you were on there?
I had some, 8x4s, I think, in the back, speakers. I didn't have a subwoofer. I wasn't going to go that crazy.
No, okay.
It's too heavy. I had a deal with my father. There was a race coming up in Europe in karting. If I won it, he'd get me a set of alloys for it. So,
oh, nice.
And I won. And he bought me some 17-inch alloys, which back then were gigantic, back in 97. So I had these mega, I think they were Momo alloys on my Cavalier. It looked really cool. I debadged it as well.
Oh, really?
I remember getting pulled over by the police. Not for speeding, obviously. It was just late at night. They just wanted to check up on me.
Saw that car drive past
and I got in the police car, and my car was in front, and he was in a Cavalier.
Yeah.
And he said, what car is that? I was like, really?
You're in it.
Just because it's been debadged, you don't recognize what it is. Anyway, but yeah, it was cool.
It sounds it.
It was kind of quick, and it handled like a go-kart. So low to the ground.
I bet your mates loved that car. You driving it around, your friends around it.
Oh, I thought you said something else then.
What did you think I said?
I bet you made love in that car.
Oh no, but that's a great question. That's a great question, and I bet you did.
I can't remember. I can't remember that far back. It was such a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on rapidly here because I'm getting a bit embarrassed. The next question is best night out after a race.
It's been a lot.
There's been a lot.
And a lot of them I can't remember.
No, that's fair enough.
Oh, there were a couple in Monaco actually.
Okay.
I remember there was one with my dad. I mean, he was always at the parties, my dad, and he was with Kid Rock.
Oh, really?
In a party after the race, and obviously I was there, and had a few drinks, and he fell over my dad. He was drinking. He wasn't very good on his feet, and he cut his elbow open and was bleeding. And Kid Rock took his cowboy hat off and gave it to my dad to put on his elbow to stop the blood going everywhere.
I mean, that's some story.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there was another one in Monaco when I won 2009. We had a night out on the Sunday night, and then we had Monday as well.
Oh, right,
so it started with lunch and rosé, and it went through to the evening, and that was Super Monday.
Okay.
And Super Monday became a thing when I won a race. So it wasn't like an evening thing Sunday evening. We'd do Super Monday during the day instead, which was always quite a lot of fun.
Sounds it. It absolutely sounds it. Okay, the next question. You're stuck on a desert island. Which Sky pundit do you have to be stuck with? You can only pick one person you're stuck on there with. From the
I'm
Sky
trying to
F1
think
team.
who would be good at building a raft. Probably Karun would be best at building a raft and getting out of there.
My initial thought was you'd say Martin Brundle, because he would just find a way of getting it done. It feels like mine always manages to find a way.
I think Ted or Karun would be the one. They'd be able to work their way around building a raft. And
How would
getting out
your
of there.
life skills be on a desert island stuck by yourself?
It matters how far it is from land, because I could swim home.
Yeah, triathlete.
If
Easy.
it was 20 miles, probably not, but shark-infested waters. But like catching fish and stuff like that, yeah, I'm all for that. I've done spearfishing before, it was a long time ago, and I wouldn't choose to go and kill fish. But if I had to, to survive, I would find a way.
Sounds a bit Bear Grylls-y.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for that.
Let's do the next one then. What is your favourite ever race track?
Favorite ever racetrack, Suzuka,
Okay, why?
Japan. Fast, flowing, unforgiving. It's like Spa, but without the runoff areas.
Nice and easy one. Let's move straight on from that one then. Which F1 team do you think will surprise people the most this upcoming season?
I have no idea.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
actually have no idea, because normally you have an understanding over the winter,
Yeah.
Whether the end of the season strong or not. But when you have a regulation change, you have no idea who's going to be quick.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite cool. I was a bit skeptical about the look of the car, but now I've seen it in team colours, the cars. They look fabulous.
Okay.
I think they look awesome. Very swoopy. They look really fast. Shame that they're heavy, but they look so cool. And everyone's a little bit different out there. So I'm just excited about seeing them all on track and trying to work out who is competitive.
What about a driver to watch this year then that you're going to be specifically keeping your eye on?
There's a lot of change. I mean, obviously George at Mercedes is a big deal alongside Lewis. I think Lando and Daniel Rick, that battle there. Hopefully Danny's going to get his eye in a bit more with this car, be a bit more competitive. I obviously do some stuff with Williams, so it's great to have Alex back, Alex Albon, and seeing how he competes in the car with Latifi and whether they're going to be able to move up the grid, which I hope. So yeah, there's quite a lot of change, and with the new regulations as well, it should be a fun year. I think it's an exciting year for Formula One, especially after what we had last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned him there, George Russell. Got to ask you a little bit about him. I worked with him last season as well. How do you think he's going to find that transition? Do you think it's going to be natural for him, and is it going to be a difficult job competing with Lewis this year?
I think the important thing for him is he's got to be himself. He can't try and be something he's not, and just work hard, get your head down, work hard, be yourself. We all know he's quick, but sometimes being put in that position, you're under a lot more pressure. Yeah. And he shouldn't go out there and think he's going to beat Lewis at race one. I think he understands that. He needs to understand there's a period of time that's going to take him to get up to speed in a team that Lewis has been with for so many years. Yeah. 10 years.
I've got to ask you as well, a lot of people want to know about Lando. What are your thoughts on Lando? Obviously the new contract. I mean, how high is his ceiling, do you think, Lando?
I don't know why he would sign a contract so long. It's a surprise for me. I know continuity is great in the sport, but who knows what's going to happen in 3 years.
So if you were Lando, you wouldn't have signed that contract, you don't think?
I don't know any drivers that would sign over 2 years in the sport, but it's 4 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2025, I think.
I don't know if there's options in there, but it's a surprise just because he's like this at the moment in terms of his career in the sport and gaining experience and speed. He almost won a race last year. I don't see the point of signing a long-term contract because you're going to be wanted. Yeah. It's not like they're not going to want you in 2 years' time. So it is a bit surprising, but he obviously has his reasons and he's happy where he is. So fair play to him.
Nice. Okay, let's do the next question. Let's take it to a little bit more of a different area. Who is the best dressed F1 driver?
Pierre Gasly's quite cool. Yeah. I kind of like his style. Mixing up, bringing the rain jackets in now and again. Yeah, probably him. Yeah, Charles Leclerc was a favourite of people doing responses to this as well. What about worst dressed? And I'll give you your time as a driver as well. Was anybody on the grid that when you Michael.
were... Michael, yeah, to be fair.
I mean, fair play to him.
He didn't care though.
He didn't care, exactly.
Yeah.
He did his own thing, and he was Michael Schumacher, so he could. Fair enough. I'm not going to be anti anyone's dress sense, but Michael's was definitely different to mine when I was racing against him. He had a lot of embroidered stuff on his clothing, but he liked it, and it kind of suited him. Yeah, pulled it off. Okay, this one. If there was one race that you could race again, what would it be, and what would you do differently? I'd probably want to race Canada again, 2011, but I wouldn't want to change anything.
You wouldn't want to change anything. You just want to re-experience it, really.
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't want Sebastian to make the mistake on the last lap, because I think I would have had him anyway down the back straight into the last chicane. So maybe that's the only thing that I would have changed.
So nothing you would have changed, but something you'd have changed Sebastian to not make the error.
To not make his mistake.
Okay, that's totally fair enough. This next question, I had to throw it in there. What are your favourite buttons? Jenson Button buttons, obviously.
Yes, that's
white,
classic.
chocolate, milk.
Milk chocolate. Always milk chocolate.
Simple ones.
Yeah.
Go-to.
And the normal size ones.
Not the large ones.
Not like
I
this
agree.
big.
The big disc ones.
He just starts melting in your hand, doesn't
Throw
it?
away. Yeah, not having it either.
No.
This one, we've got a couple more to do. Which is the hardest Grand Prix you've ever taken part in throughout your career?
2001 Malaysian Grand Prix. I was racing for Benetton. The car wasn't very quick. They had no power. No, it did have power steering, but it kept failing. So we struggled with that, and my water bottle didn't work.
Oh.
And it was 34-degree ambient, humidity through the roof. That was horrific. So I got halfway through the race, and I started getting dehydrated. So you start shivering through dehydration. You get tired, and then your vision starts going.
Oh no.
Which is the worst thing at 200 miles an hour around a track. So that was the worst race for me.
So what happened to the water bottle? It just wasn't feeding through, or?
We played around over time with the electric button for the water pump.
Okay.
And some teams have it. They probably all have it now. But back then, some had it, some didn't. And we were trying it, and it stopped working.
Oh, no.
And if you're using a water pump and it fails, you cannot suck the liquid through the tube, because it's got to go through the pump. So you just cannot get anything out. So there was nothing. I was basically licking my sweat off my top lip, and it wasn't helping.
Trying to get some moisture in there. Okay, we're going to finish then with some predictions for the upcoming season. Who do you think is going to win the championship?
I think Lewis is going to win the championship this year.
Do you?
I think he's going to get his 8th. I think he's going to be pushed very hard by George. I think George is going to surprise a few people, pushing Lewis all the way.
Wow.
And Lewis will get it in the end.
Jenson, absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thanks so much for we're going fist bumps. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah.